Howdy, it's Bonnie. I have a quick ad for you. I started podcast recording about 4 years ago. Always been on the hunt for a good platform to invite my guests and conduct the interviews. One that would allow me to have control over the audio quality and one that would assist me once issues arise. It's now super easy to record a podcast with Zencaster. Log in using a browser and start recording a high quality podcast right away. Record studio quality sound and up to 4K video with a few guests. Feel a sense of zen knowing Zencaster's multi-layered backups ensure you always have your recordings in the highest quality even if the connection is unstable. Go now to zencaster.com/pricing and use my code BonniesLegends, that's BONNIESLEGENDS, and you'll get 30% off your first month of any Zencaster paid plan. I want you to have the same easy experience I do for all my podcasting and content needs. It's time to share your story. Howdy, it's Bonnie, and welcome to another episode of Bonnie's Legends. I quickly just want to add that I reintroduced myself on our Instagram at Bonnie's Legends. So if you've ever wondered who is Howdy, it's Bonnie, there it is, out in the world. And yes, today's episode is the entire conversation of Jocelyn Nielson. Last week I put out a preview, a bonus. It was our heated discussion about which Top Gun movie we prefer. And yeah, it was a segment of the interview that I definitely would have needed to cut out anyway. But I really liked discussing film in general, so I was like, I don't really want to throw it in the trash. What can I do with this? So I put it out last week. You can listen to that after you listen to this episode. I would definitely recommend it. It was a really nice conversation. This week's episode, it's all about Jocelyn and her impressive writing routine she has built up over the past year almost. So last year around this time she decided to start a challenge to write every single day, and to keep her accountable she started posting it on TikTok, and I just absolutely loved following it, and I still love it to this day because she's still going on there. It's still going on, and she's so close to hitting like a year, and I'm so proud of that. And I really wanted to talk with her about that because as a writer myself, I know how hard it can be to show up consistently, to create this kind of discipline to show up and write. So I really wanted to discuss with her how she did it, to spill the secret. And also we talk a lot about Disney and storytelling because, again, we both are writers, and also she's reviewing Disney films on her TikTok. So you should definitely check out her TikTok. It's linked in the show notes. And yeah, I really enjoyed our conversation to talk with a fellow writer about the magic of storytelling and just the beauty of it. And yeah, actually, what keeps us still being so obsessed with Disney, right? The magic of storytelling that it has going on. So yeah, have fun listening to this. Make sure to subscribe to receive new episodes in your inbox. And excitingly news, we also have now a film club. Well, the film club is starting soon. But for now, you can sign up and you get a Bonnie Sessions button sent and also one monthly personalized playlist. So that's about that. Have fun listening to Jocelyn Nielson's episode and talk to you soon. So, welcome, Jocelyn Nielson. I'm really happy to have you on the podcast.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, I'm so excited to have you on here because I feel like watching you the past 200 days on TikTok. And I'm actually it's like such a timing that we're like celebrating your
Right?
200-day mark.
I hadn't even realized that when we first when we first found a time that worked,
Yes.
that it would fall like not long after I hit the 200 days. Like that was pretty amazing timing.
It was meant to be.
It was.
So for everyone listening, what is the 200-day mark? What are they talking about? So Jocelyn you just started it. Maybe you want to say that, but like the 200-day mark basically was that Jocelyn wrote it every single day for 200 days in a row now and has documented it on TikTok. And I've been following that like a stalker. Um, so yeah, you can like maybe you want to like say how that came together. I personally, like as a viewer, I thought like it was like a challenge you wanted to do, and I think first for like 30 days or something, and then you just kept going, and I was like addicted to it, and I was like, wow.
Well, it was definitely something I've always struggled with in having like a daily writing practice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because like I would take writing classes in college, and they would recommend writing a certain amount of words a day or a certain amount of words a week, making sure to have that, building that discipline. Never did that because I'm that person. But it was also always something at the back of my mind that I knew I wanted to do, that I knew was important, but I never could get myself to commit to that.
Mm-hmm.
And then one morning, actually on the 18th of April, the day that I started, I had gone to I'm a religious person. And so I had gone to do a temple session. When I'm in those sessions, it usually also gives me time, to think, and I just kind of like let my mind go places. And I just had a thought, like I started thinking about writing and daily writing and how I could actually like do that, how I could make that work. And the thought came to practice publicly. Mm-hmm. And start and be doing that on TikTok. And so I started doing it that day, and I started recording it and posting it that day, because I knew if I was going to do it, I had to do it that day, or else I would not actually do it. And so I did. So that afternoon, after I got other things done, I sat down, I wrote, I filmed, and then I edited, and then I posted, and I was like, okay, I started. And now I'm 200. I think today will be the 202nd day.
Yeah.
But I've been able to maintain a streak that I've never been able to do before. So I was very happy with with making it so far.
As you should be. Wow, that was in April.
I know, right? Oh man. And that's one of the funniest things, is that the numbers don't really register in my brain. Mm-hmm. Like I see the numbers growing, and I'm like, yeah, sweet. Like it's Dana, but it doesn't really register that it was in April. That April was 200 days ago. And so every time like I hit like a new decade, or like decade of days, or like hit the 50 mark, the 100-day mark, like it doesn't fully register. And then I actually like look back on all the different posts, or on all the different entries that I keep track of, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, that really was like so many days ago.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, mathematically it makes sense that like from today is like November 5th, so like 200 days ago it was
Yeah,
April, but like what the
but it
hell?
doesn't make sense at the same time.
No, so many what happened in all those months, right?
I know. I know.
Yeah, I'm so proud of you. That's like I've never
Oh,
I
thank
I don't
you.
I don't think I've ever hit. I think the last time I wrote 200, yeah, it kind of makes sense. The last time I wrote 300 days in a row was when I wrote my second fiction novel. And so that was when I was 16 and I'm now 19. So that was 3 years ago. Since then have not repeated that one, but wow, that's like massive. And like I know some authors who like show up every day and
Mhm.
like have like a minimum of like today I will write three, like, as you said, like word counts. Today I will write 300 words. um or like we have NaNoWriMo, like people, show
Oh
up for
man.
NaNoWriMo an entire month.
The people who accomplish NaNoWriMo, even if they don't finish it, those who actually like commit through at least half the month to NaNoWriMo, I have such immense respect because that's another thing that I have like tried to do for years.
Yeah.
And every time it comes around, I'm just like, nope, I
Yeah.
can't, I can't do it. And the people who do actually like complete it are amazing. And I'm just like, you did this incredible thing in a
Yeah.
month. Now go please take a month and sleep so that you can recover.
Exactly. Exactly. Um, I tried to participate many times before as well. Nah, nah, it was never mine. First of all, when I'm sitting down, I'm not. Well, for me personally, it always depends like what I'm writing on. So as I said,
Yeah.
the last time I hit the 200-day streak, if it makes sense, in my mind, then it was like when I wrote my second fiction novel. But
Yeah.
that was because I wanted to write a second fiction novel, and it was like a good story, and I really wanted to keep writing. But since then, apparently, I've never really found something that I stuck with so much. So yeah, I could never write like just show up every day and write like 1,600 words. That's insane.
Oh, I know. That so there were so many days in over the last where I did not want to write. And it wasn't even that that I didn't want to write, though. There were there were days like that because writing, as great as it is hard.
Mhm.
But it was the fact that I was practicing publicly
Yeah.
that was like the thing that kept me going. And that was one of the
Mm.
and that was one of the reasons why I had started and why I had started posting. And I think I even put that in the caption on the first video. And I was just like, this is like really for me to be able to keep myself accountable. And then also I gave myself permission to not have like a specific topic to write about on that day. Because
Mm.
I know when I started, one of the goals that I had that I wanted to accomplish was to write enough blog posts that I could post a brand new blog post every day for the month of July.
Wow.
And I and it was a good thing that I started in April
Yeah.
because I still was like scrambling from not having like great ideas when it came to time to like editing and putting things together, that I was still
Mhm.
like writing things in the middle of July to be
Yeah.
posting in July. And um it really like it I think I like almost like mini burned myself out after that. And so I was like, you know what? I need to take some time
Yeah.
to just let myself write to keep my fingers moving, to keep like my fingers exercised in that way and not worry about what type of content I should be posting
Mm.
on my blog. And
Yeah.
actually I have, as a side note, I also haven't written on I haven't posted on my blog in a little while. But I've gotten like my head much clearer just because I kept showing up and writing. And I actually have probably at least a half dozen pieces that I just need to sit down. I just need to sit down and edit, and
Yeah.
then I can post those.
You're talking to me. I have like 80 draft posts in my Substack.
Why do we do this to ourselves?
I don't know. We have an idea. We think we might jot it down, but when we actually sit down, it's like way more difficult to like express,
Oh, it's so
just to
true.
handle. And then we hope that one day we're going to open this file again and look at it and be like, let's do this.
Yes. If I could split myself in two and have one of me just to be the editor. Just
Yeah.
take on. That way it's still me who's doing all of the work, but I mentally don't have to worry about it. And that would be
Yes.
great.
Yes. And like also editing, you kind of attach to it because you wrote it, and then editing it, you really have to come like with an objective view on it. And it's like,
Hmm. Oh yes.
it's not possible because we are attached to it. I remember when I edited my first, a friend of mine sent me their novel to like read through and
Yeah.
like proof proof copy it, and I was like, this is so much fun, like this is so easy to do. And then I was like, this mentality, I will now edit my own novel. And I sat there and I was like, you know what, it's not possible. Not possible. Yeah, I mean,
Oh goodness.
being a writer is so fun, right?
It's such a fun. It's a fun decision. I sometimes I wonder why I decided that that was what I wanted to do. No, it's great. And
Yeah.
I mean, you're publishing books and essays all the time. Like I am so proud of you for what you've been doing.
Oh, thank you. Oh, this just made me emotional. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Yeah, I sometimes even wonder how I'm able to put out stuff because I'm not like I have weeks where I don't sit down and write anything. And then suddenly I'm like sitting down like last, so I haven't really written something on my Substack for like a month. Like I've put out a podcast episode last week, but that was like
Hmm.
it. And then
Yeah.
yes, last night I just sat there and I had like a spark of an idea, and then I just sat down and wrote it down and pressed publish. And I was like, oh, okay, so this is how it happens. This is how it happens. I disappear for like months, and then one night I decide I cannot sleep, and I have this one sentence in my mind, and I will write it down, and then just go on from there, and then press publish. I think that's yeah. I think I'm putting out so much things, and I'm like publishing my novels quite quickly. If you think like if you compare it to the like traditional like
Hmm.
length of like waiting, like from having finished the novel and then
Yeah.
publishing, because I know if I don't do it now, like I learned if I don't do it now, I will just never do it and it will die in my
Right.
drafts.
Well, and then I don't like as someone who enjoys reading your work, I don't even notice when you have like if you have a gap in time. Like if you post something in like February and then you don't post something till the end of March,
Yeah.
I don't even notice. And I'll see like a notification, like I'll see a notification or I'll see like a video that you post on TikTok or on
Yeah.
social media saying, "Hey, I just posted this." I'm like, "Oh, great. Like sweet." And I don't even think about like the fact that I haven't seen anything recently. It'll just be like, "Awesome. Bonnie's posted something. I can read it."
Yeah, it's just in my mind, isn't it? I
No,
just
I'm the same. Like I'm the same way because
yeah.
I'll just be like I like I mean I just like I told you just a little bit ago like I haven't posted anything on my website in a month, but I've been writing and I'm
Yeah.
like I really need to like someone's probably noticed. Like they probably have noticed that I haven't posted anything. And but once I start posting again, then I'll be like, "Oh, there.
Yeah.
Like I did it. I my presence is re-acknowledged by someone."
Someone has seen it, everyone.
Someone has seen it. It's fine.
One person has read it. That is good. So what do you write? Do you just write blog posts, or do you also write, I don't know, novels, poetry?
Mostly, actually, I it was funny. So yesterday morning, I spent about 3 hours. Actually, it was honestly, it was probably longer. But like, it feels like it was at least 3 hours. I created just to kind of like, as a way to kind of like continue celebrating reaching like the 200 days. I went through every single video, and I created a database on Notion, and I was keeping track of like what, like, the time that I put in, like what the word count was, and if I had a show, like if I had a TV show playing, a movie playing, or if I had a song playlist. And so like I was keeping track, like I wasn't keeping track specifically of like like the names of the different shows, movies, etc. because I already have that. I already have that in a different thing. But this was just for the numbers. And I have over 100, like written over 150,000 words. And I was like, what if, like, can you imagine, like, if I had actually like written, like, had been working on it, like, on fiction, I would have been so proud of myself. But
you're so proud of yourself.
I know I am, but not because of fiction.
You could have been able now to say to like, I have 100,000
like here's like this incredible, like here's like this dense thick book of words that I've written. No, so I mostly write blog posts, and that's what I've been focused on, though. For the last couple of months, it's mostly been stream of conscious. So there are potential blog posts, like nuggets of blog posts, mired within other thoughts of me just being like, I don't want to be writing today. I'm tired. I procrastinated, and this is why I'm in this position. This is the consequence of my own actions.
Yeah, honestly, I do the same. Honestly, I'm hosting this writing retreat at the moment.
Oh yes.
Yeah, I wanted to approach a gentle way to build up writing routine, like for others, but also like what's for me.
Of course. Because if it works for you, then you know that it's something that can also help other people.
Exactly. And so the first co-writing session, I had set my goal to like, because I've been going back and forth between like novel and ideas and whatnot, and I could not possibly, like, I saw how I could connect at the end everything together, but then that was too much of a hassle for me, so I was like, ah, never mind. And so my goal was to start writing a novel and just write on it for the duration, like for the 5 weeks of the writing retreat, like during all co-writing sessions. And so the first co-writing session, I started the blank page, and I was like, well, like I didn't want to start writing something new. Like I really felt like I want to continue writing on something I've written this year. Like what are we doing here? And so I literally wrote, like, I wrote a foreword, and I wrote like, I want to write something completely new, but then I don't really want to be bothered with a new idea. And like, I'm so afraid of a write like another, it was here, like a novel for mine. Like I was like literally writing what was coming up in my mind. And then I felt good to have written that, done that. And then I wrote one. And then I just read like one sentence. That was really, like, I just thought of the weirdest, poetically, like, you know, like a sentence that says nothing at all, but it looks like it says so much because it's like, has like, like lyrically, you know, like,
oh yes,
in there. That was literally the only thing I've then written that session. But the next day I came back to it and I continued writing on it. So it was like, but it was good that I literally sat down and wrote down my thoughts on this novel and was like, that would be funny to reread when I've finished this.
I love that you started with the forward. That I love that. That cracks me up. But that's also so, like, that's so smart. As a way to like get some words on paper, so it's no longer a blank page.
Yeah,
I love that.
It doesn't look scary anymore.
It doesn't.
No.
Oh, blank pages are both really cool and also traumatizing.
Yeah.
They're terrifying.
Yes. Well, like whenever you reach the end of the page and you like did you have that you're like so scared of like, oh my god, we open like it's going to start a new page, like what?
Oh, well, I struggle with intro like intro paragraphs
Mm.
and concluding paragraphs. No matter what type of thing I'm writing, whether it's a blog post, like a website article back when I was working full time as a copywriter, or especially like when I would write fiction, it was just like I don't want to have to deal with like the beginning. Like I don't know how to do those. Let me just be in the middle where I can at least be like, yes, things were happening, but this is what's happening now. And
Yes.
we're not going to talk about what comes after because that's after.
I started writing It Was Here, the novel I wrote 200 days. It's funny because like back then, I started NaNoWriMo and I wanted to kind of continue on a novel I had like written, like started 2 years prior to that. It was
Yeah.
2020, and I was like just sitting there, and I was like, I don't feel like writing that story anymore. Although it's a good story, but I just don't feel like I'm in the mood right now to continue writing that. And so I sat there for 29 days during entire NaNoWriMo where everyone shared like their goals and whatnot. And literally on the 29th of November, I was like, because I noticed what's like blocking me. I was like, I'm thinking of like I had this vague character idea. I had no idea how to involve him in any
Yeah.
sort of situation. That not even like putting down his name. Like I was really blocked. And then on the 29th of November, I literally sat there and I was like, you know what? I think the problem is that I don't know how to start, but like what if we just start writing in the middle of it and then we will be bothered with the beginning like later.
Right.
And that's how I started writing. And then as I said, I wrote like 200 days on the novel and I finished it
Oh man.
May the next year. And it's funny because like I had finished it, I had written the last sentence, and I was like, "Oh my god, I finished my second fiction novel." And then I went back to like I wanted to read the beginning again, and there was literally a Google document comment which said, "Please write the beginning." And I was like, "What? What are you
Oh,
talking about?"
your
So
your past self really said, "Have fun with this. Bye."
yes. I literally sat there and I was like, what? And so I was like, okay, I'm not done yet. I cannot celebrate, whatever. And I went really and I the next day I went to school and I was so depressed and I was sitting there and for some reason I was like people asked me like why I'm so sad and I was like, you would not understand. You're not like I was the only person really in school that was like a writer. So I was like, you don't like I'm like the only one who's doing anything creative in this room. So like you will absolutely not understand why I'm now right now depressed this entire day. and but like for some reason my mood that I was like so frustrated and I then remember like I went over the my beginning, right? That was not my beginning, but it was like in the document it was like the beginning, but I knew it could not be the beginning. I literally sat there and I was like thinking of it the entire day. And then I went to bed and I literally had to, like, this moment when you're laying in bed and you're like ready to go to sleep, but then suddenly it hits.
Yes. Yes. Oh, it's the worst. Like I don't want to get up, but I need to capture this idea, but I want to sleep.
So I, on a school night, literally like turned on the lights again, scrambled some piece of paper, and literally wrote. And then, now it's the prologue, right? Like the book still starts.
Oh man.
The one still starts the way I've started writing it, but like the prologue then came to me in the middle of the night, and I was like, "Yeah, now it's done. Okay, bye. I cannot be bothered with it. Bye."
So it was funny as you were talking about that. It reminded me of someone. I can't remember who was giving the advice first. I know it's floated around multiple places on the internet of when you're writing and you don't know how to describe a scene, like if it's like an action sequence or like a or what have you, to just put it in like little but you need to like continue on. Just put it into like little brackets and be like insert like
Yeah.
fighting scene here, like sword fights. And I was just like, the way when you were talking about, I'm like, what if you actually wrote a story like that,
Like that.
where the brackets were on purpose, where it was like insert prologue describing like this, like very basic,
Yeah.
like what captures the thing, and then like continue. So like they're just like randomly throughout the story, but it's built. But that's like part of the story is
Yeah.
that they are like bracketed. The reader has to then be like,
Yeah.
okay,
Like,
there's like this fight scene here, and
yeah.
then we continue on.
It's starting the imagination. Like, I'm writing love novels, and I started writing very young, right? So I never really had any romantic experience I could literally write about.
Yeah.
And but I had a vague idea, right? Like, I've watched TV and whatnot, and
Mm-hmm.
but it was like interesting because that's literally how I when I had to write a sex scene, like I knew they would have sex. I was like, right, we just let them kiss, and then the reader can think of whatever they want to think.
Oh yeah, all you need is like the characters, like the one character like shuts the door, and you're like, oh,
Yeah.
we
Like
know
they did in
we
the
don't
old
need to.
movies. Like they did in the
Absolutely.
old
Oh
movies.
yeah.
That's how I did it in the beginning. So yeah. Also proscets. So I'm English is not my mother tongue, right? Like I'm German, and so my mother tongue is German, and I did write my first novel in German, and then the second one I was already so deep down of like transitioning into English that I was like, I can write this novel in English, and I did, but like I literally whenever, because just I think that's how I succeeded actually to like stay in the flow, because if I would have stopped in the middle of the sentence to like look up how the word, like
Mm-hmm.
how the translation is, I think I would not, like I would have lost
Oh
the thread.
yeah.
And so I always put it in brackets, and the funniest thing was I gave to my friend the like a scene to read, or like I edited it and they were just reading the next scene and they bursted in laughter, and I was like, what is so funny about the scene? And they were like, it was like this dinner scene, and then Harrison, the main character, is like talking to his friend, and he's like talking about how he needs to get out of the city and he needs like a change of scenery. And I didn't know what, like I just knew that we have in German a specific word for change of scenery, so I put it down that like it's called I just need a Tapetenwechsel. Like I just need a change of scenery. And he's German and he read that and he laughed out. Like he bursted into laughter because it was like so funny for him to think of this British guy who sits in a restaurant and talks to his friend very seriously how he needs a Tapetenwechsel. Like that was for him so funny. And I let it stand in there. It is standing in there. Like
Nice.
if a footnote, I mean, it says like change of scenery, but I let it in there because I was like, this will be forever like immortalized. Like this is
I
in
love
there.
it.
And
I love that.
honestly, the German word Tapetenwechsel, I mean, means change of scenery, but literally, if you would translate it literally, it means like change of tapestry. Yeah. So I was like, I'll just let it in there. It's funny. Like it eases up the situation. And so yeah, when you were talking about the proskets, I was like, oh, I hell no, what about proskets? So yeah, shout out to my friend if they're listening.
I love that. I love that. I love that you left it in. Like not even just that it happened, but that you were like, yes,
Yeah.
this gets its own place of honor in this book
Yeah.
forevermore.
Yeah. First, I felt like so embarrassed. I was like, oh, how did you like you caught me? Like I cannot write it like I have to put insert like German words if I don't know them. And I literally like hastily looked up the translation. I was like, this is not change of scenery. It's not like change of tapestry. It's not this. It's not the same kind of vibe. So I was like, ugh, let's just leave it in there. The good old German language. I mean, it has its poetic peaks, right? So
Yeah.
I let it in there.
Were you also wanting to talk about Disney?
Yes. Okay. Do you want to transition to Disney?
Yeah, I'm total.
Okay.
I love talking about Disney.
Yeah. I mean, it kind of matches like the vibe of creativity and whatnot. Like
Oh,
Disney.
definitely.
Yeah.
Well, and I
Um.
mean, Disney is very much like they're a storytelling company.
Hmm.
So I like writing and like writing, transitioning to stories, transitioning to Disney.
Yeah.
It's a pretty nice segue right there.
Yeah. So that's for everyone listening, that's actually how I've kind of like we've met through Danielle at Hair Messy Bun, but
Hmm.
that's literally how I kind of got to know you because he posted like a series on TikTok about like Disney films and like every single Disney production, which
Yeah, and I've had to put it on hiatus because of the strike, and it's so sad.
oh yes,
Oh, so for the studios who are listening, please agree to the terms.
yeah,
Like the actors deserve
yeah,
the like fair pay.
yeah.
Fingers crossed that by the time this airs, I will actually be able to start. I actually am planning on like starting to film them again, just to have them in draft form and have them ready to go. But yeah, it that oh that project. So just as yeah, just to kind of like briefly explain it, I've been through many iterations of this project. I have been working on watching and reviewing every single Disney theatrical release in chronological order. And I kid you not, between the written version on my website and this TikTok version, I have been stuck in the 60s for at least 2 years. Like no, actually, and probably even closer to 3 years now. And there's only there's 52 movies that were released in the 60s. And so even if I was just posting regularly once a week, that would still take me like a whole like 1 year to get
Yeah.
through everything. But I'm
Oof.
always cut like I'm all like I had gone on hiatus on my web version because of I had just burned myself out from the amount that I was posting. And
Yeah.
I got into that really bad habit of watching, and I feel like you'll totally relate to this. I was watching the movies ahead of time and I was taking the notes, but then I got far ahead of watching slash taking notes that I had
Mm.
like this back pile of edits that I
Yeah.
needed to do. And I was like, I don't want to edit this right now. So
Mm.
I have a pile that's still just sitting there. And I'm
Yeah.
like, I don't even remember what I was thinking. So like I actually am even just gonna be going through and like chucking all like throwing all those notes away because I never finished them. And I might as well just, renew them when I can actually remember what I was thinking. But yeah, because of that, I've been stuck for like in the 60s for like 3 years. And I'm just like, I want to get to the 70s. Because I don't let myself watch ahead unless it's like a certain amount of years beyond where I am in the project. And I'm just like, I'd like to see another decade in this lifetime. That would be nice.
I didn't know. I literally didn't know you just watched, like, you only allow yourself to watch what is like on your
Oh,
schedule.
it I well, because I have a pretty good memory when it comes to stories. Now, depending on the type of story, if it's similar to other like if it's like similar to other storylines, then I'd be like that I might get that mixed up, and then it's not such a big deal. But if I'm watching if especially if I'm watching like a movie that I've seen before,
Mm.
like Mary Poppins. Let's take Mary Poppins for example. So I didn't let myself watch Mary Poppins for months because I wanted to make sure that when I did watch it, it was like I wasn't it was with a more fresh mind than the childhood nostalgia.
Mm.
Like
Yeah.
I wanted to because I want to make sure that when I'm actually like watching it, it's with as much of an open mind as I possibly can get. Because there are a lot of Disney movies, but mainly the live actions, for in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, and even into the 90s, where I've never seen a lot of the live actions. I've seen all of the animated Disney movies up to a point. I haven't seen some of the new ones. But most of the live actions I had never even heard of. I only know them now because I've had to like write their name into a database so that I can keep track of things. And so because of that, like for those I don't want to to like taint what my thoughts are by watching ahead. Though I do kind of wish at times that I hadn't have done chronological order and instead had like a wheel that I would just either that I would remove when I've seen them, and I would add new ones as they came out, just to kind of like spice it up.
Wow, yeah.
But I've already committed. I've already committed to chronological order, so I'm stuck.
You could.
I'm stuck like this.
I mean, you could do it decade wise. You could just be.
I no. It would throw no. It's if I was restarting for the upteenth time.
Yeah, okay.
Which, you know, that may happen in the future. No, if I was restarting, I probably would. But I do also like going in order because because it allows you to kind of see where the priorities were when it comes to stories.
Yeah.
Like it felt like obvious. Like there was only Snow White in the 30s because that was the only feature length film they released. And then other than 3 movies, well, 4 in the 40s, they were mostly animated. There were a few that did have live action segments, and 2 of them, Song of the South and So Dear to My Heart, were primarily live action with animated sequences.
Yeah, right.
And so like watching those and then getting into the 50s where it felt very, very grounded, because that's when they started bringing in their true life adventure series, which were animal documentaries. And they had some Westerns, like they had Old Yeller, they had The Great Locomotive Chase, they had Westward Ho the Wagons, with like different, like several different movies where they were very much like mid 19th century Western, like USA, like Midwest, like very much like Earth, like almost like Earthbound. And then you get into the 60s and they brought in like Moon Pilot, which was not a great movie. It has like a couple of moments that I'm like, okay, but it wasn't a great movie. But they started exploring more more like branching out, so it wasn't just like Western based, and just different types of stories. And so I'm very excited to see as I eventually reach the 70s, and then as I like in the future like get to the 80s and the 90s, just to see how like what types of stories were told and how they were told. Like I like that. It's just that because of that, I do like that focus.
Yeah.
And it is chronologically based focus. It means I can't have fun with like, let's spin the wheel and see it. Like, I will be surprised and you will be surprised. No, I don't get that. I did actually though. I did forget a movie once, like, because remember I had written the blog post versions up through like the 60s, and then when I was doing like the TikTok ones, I get to the I don't even remember if it was, I think it was like in the early 60s. And I was like, I was looking at my list of like what movies comes next. And I see this movie, Big Red. And I'm like, right. Like I totally had forgotten that. I was like, I forgot this movie. I totally forgot about it. It's a cute movie, but clearly not memorable. But yeah, it was great. It was a good time.
That is a dedication, though. I deeply admire that. That's like a wow.
Thank you.
So at this point of our conversation, we went on a huge tangent talking about the differences between Top Gun 1 and Top Gun 2 and our love with Julia Roberts, and also tracking apps like Letterboxd. So if you're interested in that, it's the preview episode with the same title. It's also 407, and yeah, see you there. And now we continue the conversation. So we actually met up twice. We met up once again, I think exactly a week afterwards at the same time. because I had a few questions unanswered that I really wanted to cover, and so we talk in this next part of the conversation. We talk a lot about storytelling and Disney and the magic of storytelling in terms of writing as well. So have fun. And thank you for listening so far. I know this episode is a long one, but I appreciate you listening. Who's your legend?
Who's my legend? Like, who's someone that I admire?
Yeah, who you look up to.
Oh, okay.
Because the podcast is called Bonnie's Legends, so
which totally makes sense. Oh goodness. I mean, I would definitely say that Walt Disney is one of them. Just because the amount of creativity and like originality that came from him is fun, like is amazing. For right now, I'm gonna say Walt Disney. I have others. I just can't. I feel bad. I can't think of any more off the top of my head.
That's okay. Mine changed throughout the years of having the podcast. So totally normal. But I love Walt Disney, and like, yeah, obviously, like this man, of course, he was a legend. Like, wow, like what we have from him, like that's his legacy. Wow.
Oh, I do have one. Yes. And it does connect with Walt Disney. Mary Blair, who was she was an animator, and she became an Imagineer. Ooh. With Disney in the in like the 40s, 50s, like 40s, 50s, and 60s going it. And she's the one who helped work on small, like It's a Small World. Like that's a lot of like the colors and the designs are her come from her concept art. And she actually one of the other Imagineers, I believe it was Raleigh Crump, who he designed a special Small World doll. And that's in, I believe it's in Disneyland, that looks like Mary Blair. Just as a way to honor her. And her use of color and shapes and just like the way she put things together in her concept work is incredible. Beautiful artwork. It, like, if you just like look through, if you ever have a chance to look through her portfolio and see like her different concept pieces and different murals that she's done, like they're so well done. They're so great. I love her.
Okay, I need to check her work out. I think I've probably seen it, but like, yeah, probably didn't know it was like her work. Yeah. Thank you for shouting that out.
You're welcome.
So I'm like really interested when the passion for like, when were you like, I'm going to do this? Like we talked about, how you do these, which is a crazy thing, and I'm like really admiring you.
I seriously. So I keep a list, and there's a main list that I use, and but I was actually no, we'll come to that in a minute. Okay. So yes. So just to kind of like do like the super quick background story. I've always been a Disney kid. I think like my parents would say that they've said that they took me to see Aladdin in theaters when I was a wee infant. Like they were like, I don't remember any of this.
Born Disney fan.
I was a born Disney fan. And I'm pretty sure they went to see Beauty and the Beast in theaters before I was born, when I was on my way.
Yeah.
So I was very much like from the womb. Me and Disney have been like this. So yeah, so I've always grown, like I've always had Disney in my life, watching Disney movies, reading the super thin like Disney books, the ones that were like Sleeping Beauty, Cinderella, the ones that were like cute animated, or cute illustrated, either like with seeing like looking like they were from the movie or having slightly different illustration styles.
Yeah.
And yes, so Disney whole life. And then I started working, and then I had the chance to do some of the Disney college programs. And
Yeah, that's where I wanted to get you.
oh,
I wanted you to say that. I kind of saw it and I was like, I need her to say it because I feel like she went to some Disney courses.
I did three. I was very lucky, and I was able to do three of their fall advantage programs, which would go from like early to mid May, like that was kind of like around the starting point, through the end of the year. And so I got to experience, like the summers and the holidays. Loved it.
Nice.
Holidays at Disney are so magical, even though they celebrate them for so long. Like they'll start Halloween in like mid-August, and they'll stop on the 30th, like after Halloween ends. And so like from November 1st through the end of the year,
Yeah.
just like to technically a little bit after the end of the year, they'll be celebrating Christmas. And it's great. I think it's super entertaining. And during my second program, so I did one program in Florida and two programs in California. So my second program, which was my first California program, was the 60th anniversary of Disneyland.
Okay.
Which was very cool. It was like it was such a great time to be there. And I had some friends who I had met. We became friends on our first program because we were all in like the Florida program together about the same time. And then we connected more so in college because my college had a Disney club. And yeah, so we became really good friends. And they were planning, two of them who actually had met and gotten engaged on our Florida program. They were doing a Disney animation, like they were watching all of the animated movies, include all of the animated movies, but then they were also adding in like Mary Poppins and a couple other like significant live action movies, but the main focus was the animated ones.
Okay.
And I had realized I had seen all of the animated movies.
Yeah.
But most of the live action ones I had not seen, or either had not even heard of, which is true. The amount of movies in the 70s, 80s, and 90s that I didn't know that Disney even like had created.
Yeah.
Because a lot of them were especially the ones that were under different little like sub studios.
Yeah.
So like the movie Pretty Woman.
Yeah.
Was created by Hollywood Pictures, which was a Disney company.
Yes. Yeah.
So there were so many live action movies, and that I hadn't seen. So that nugget of information stayed in the back of my head for a few more years. I didn't really do anything with it. And then I decided towards the end of my last program, when I realized I wasn't going to be staying on full time with Disney, I decided to start this project. And to be honest, part of the reason for doing the project was to justify the watching of the movies.
Mm-hmm.
Because I knew I would have to rent a lot of them. This was before Disney Plus came out, and I knew I would have to rent a lot of them. And so the only way that I could justify renting all of those movies would be to be creating content to at least be like, I need to rent this so that I can write about this.
Yeah.
So that was the reason, which sometimes I'm still like, maybe it would have been better if I just said, yes, I'm just going to watch. I'm not going to do anything about it. But yeah. I have a lot of fun with it. But yeah, so originally I started, and I was going to watch every movie and then write about it. Well, I started doing that, and I got through 35 movies, and I realized, which put me into like the 50s as far like as far as the timeline goes.
Nice.
So I realized after like that 35th movie that I needed to start over because I was only watching movies once.
Mm.
And for the movies that I had grown up watching, so mostly because most of the movies of the 40s, like Snow White in the 30s, and then most of the movies of the 40s, and some of the early 50 movies I had grown up watching. Because you've got Peter Pan, you've got Snow White, you've got Dumbo, Pinocchio. And so I had no problem with that. I could take notes while I was watching because I didn't need to be fully focused on the movie because I knew what was going on. But it was quickly becoming apparent in the 50s that it was no longer going to be the case because there were a lot of movies I had not seen. So I restarted so that I could watch every movie at least twice. Once to just watch it.
Yeah.
And then the second time to then be like, okay, I've seen this, so now I can actually be taking notes and stuff during the video. So, yeah, that took me a long time.
I believe.
I'm very, and then especially because that was back when I was just doing the written side. Yeah. So then, of course, when I started doing like the TikTok videos, I had to restart again and watch. But this time I only watched once because I had already watched them for the written side, and so it was more of a refresher. But I'm very familiar with the early movies of Disney because I've seen them so many times now.
Yeah.
Oh, and some of them are just, I mean, some of them are just not that good. No, it's fine. They're fine. That's why I have a fine jar. That's where all of my not great movies are put. I write them, and I actually have a couple of the ones that I'm going to be working on shortly are going to go into that fine jar to exist with the other fine existing movies. No. But yeah, so that's kind of just how that all
started.
That all came to be.
Nice.
Yeah. And it really, I'm pretty sure this is going to take me years. Yeah. It's just, I originally started using the, on D23, which is Disney's, fan club website, like their official fan club. They have a list of theatrical releases. Okay. I feel like it's fairly comprehensive. I do think that there are some movies that are missing from it, which I'm kind of like, does this count then? Like, should I? But that was the list that I mainly started using from, because it is still more comprehensive than if you were to go on Wikipedia.
Yeah.
And look up theatrical releases. And so I was using that, but then I started keeping track on my own, just to have like a second place to make sure that I was not forgetting anything. And when I started converting it over into Notion recently, where I can also keep track of, like, I can do like a tally, keep a tally. Mm-hmm. And I'm just looking at the numbers right now. Let's see. So the 60s, there's like the 60s. If I watched a movie every week, it should have only just taken me a year, but unfortunately there was, of course, the strike. So that would have only taken me a year. The 70s are a little bit under a year. 80s are a little bit over a year, of one a week. There's like 63. The 90s, though, 238. It is going to take me like 4 years, over 4 years. And actually, it's interesting because a lot of, from between the 80s to the early 2000s, and then of course they are starting to come back. There were a number of rated R films that were made, such as Pretty Woman, such as Good Morning Vietnam, such as An American Werewolf in Paris, that I did not even know existed.
I knew it existed. It popped up on Prime last night when I was looking for a movie. It came and I was like, what is this? What for a title? What is the story behind this?
Right. And for religious reasons, I'm not going to be watching any of the rated R films. Not that I don't think that there would be some that if I could find the edited version, like if it were to play on TV, such as Pretty Woman or Good Morning Vietnam, I would probably watch those. But I'm not going to review them because I can't review like a few of the rated R ones, even. But also I'm not going to review them because if I'm reviewing an edited version, then that's not the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So instead it's but to still like keep everything in line as far as like timeline goes, because my project is chronological.
Yeah.
I'm still gonna at least like have like a video of me being like, here's what this movie is, here's what it's about, and here's who's in it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just so that becomes a resource for other people to be like, oh,
yeah.
Because I'm not going to expect like, just because I'm not going to watch it, I'm not going to expect that no one else like should watch it. And there might be people who like that becomes their favorite movie.
Yeah. Nice.
So, but yeah, it's going to take me forever. It's going to take me so long.
Let's talk in like 10 years again after you're done.
Oh, right.
We definitely have to meet again when you're like done with it. I do truly want to see that.
I know, and part of me is like, I don't know if I feel like my past self, the one who was starting it, was so excited by the novelty idea, like just being like, yes, this is a big project.
Yeah.
And it's going to be really big. But I don't think I realized how big.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the fact that, I mean, obviously time keeps going and movies keep getting created. So I don't think I've caught up to, actually I might have finished. No, I have. Sorry, I was looking at my thing to see if I fully added all of the movies that are on that list so far. Yeah. And I haven't yet. But even so, I'm still at like 818 movies in my personal like database of the list.
Yeah.
And I know there's still like a couple dozen more or so that I haven't added yet. And
wow,
there's more to come. There's so many more to come.
Yeah, I truly feel the excitement of, I always feel like that when I'm doing my podcast. I love doing my podcast and whatnot, but every time a new season starts, because like I started doing it seasonal because I was, as a student and whatnot, and I knew I couldn't do it. Like I always recorded my episodes in the summer, and then I edit everything in the fall and winter break, and then it came out. So that was why I did seasons, and now I continue to do it just because I like to change up the structure or whatnot. And it's like funny because like every time the season starts, I'm like, okay, for the next 40 weeks, every single week there's going to be a new episode, and like, I'm going to have to run after people for filling out the Google form and like things like that. So I totally get it. And now and now I'm doing this entire blog thing that I'm like, I have, as I said, I have a music section, but like every Monday I release like a guide of like what came out last week. So like my brain is the entire week collecting all of these songs that are coming out, and then I choose 5 that I write a review to, and then like and every Sunday like this I sit there and I'm like, why again did I wanted to do this? Like, why could someone else?
Right?
Someone else can do this as well. Why am I doing this? Why do I think I'm responsible for this?
Well, and I totally get that. And so far I've only been doing like the theatrical releases, but I also want to start doing like the direct to video for Disney, because you've got I'm pretty sure at some point I saw the second Aladdin movie, like The Return to Jafar.
Yeah.
I feel like it was one of those, either like we saw it on TV. Like I feel like my parents have said that I've seen it. I don't fully remember seeing it.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's been mentioned. But I grew up, but we had a taped copy of King of Thieves, the third Aladdin movie, and I love
Yeah.
that. I love that movie. It's so
Okay.
great. And then so like I want to start adding in those sequels, and I'm just like, oh, it just keeps growing. It
Yes.
just keeps getting bigger. But I can't, like, I don't want to like cut it back, but also like, am I do I really want to do that to my future self?
Yeah.
And the answer is apparently yes.
Yeah. I totally see that. It's it can be adjusted to everything. So it's like it's a very human. I think it's okay, not human. Like that's just not like it's a very creative
Mm-hmm.
like way we artists do in a way. Like we
Yeah.
like to do this.
It definitely has to be fun.
Yeah, yeah. I think the next day was on your writing video. You posted how you were like inspired by our Top Gun tension about
Oh, yeah.
what makes a good sequel, and I'm like so keen to read that.
Oh, I know. I need to go. I still need to go and edit that.
Yeah,
But no, that was such a good. Not like yes, the conversation was great.
yeah,
And I can't wait for you to post that conversation as like a bonus episode, because that was so much
totally.
fun. But when I was sitting down writing, because that, like, I wanted to start adding prompts, but I've also been going back and forth on if they should represent what I'm actually working on that day, or if they should just be almost like a collection pool for me to be like, here's a prompt idea, and then me later going back and being like, oh,
Nice.
I like this idea. Now I won't, like, I didn't have anything to say about this then, other than being like, here's this question, but now I want to write something. But that day, that, like, I was just like, yes. I was basically like, I was like word vomiting into my keyboard, and it was great. That was one of like the most like relaxing writing sessions that I've had in a while, where I was just like, yes, I am just getting all of these thoughts out. This is great. It was good. It was a good, like, that was a good day for writing. And I thank you for that, because you were the reason that came about.
Yeah, Tom Cruise again. There we go. Oh, I didn't tell you about that. I posted in the story. I posted how I rewatched Top Gun 1.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. And I posted that I'm watching it because we talked about Top Gun. And the amount of messages I got asking if I interviewed Miles Teller or Tom Cruise were like overwhelming. People thought because I was like, because usually I talk with my guests on the podcast about themselves and their career and like music.
Yeah.
And so they were like, she talked about Top Gun? Has she interviewed Tom Cruise? And I was like, what?
Someday,
Tom and Miles, you're always welcome.
You're manifesting this now.
Yeah, but it was like, it fascinated me how many people thought I could pull Tom Cruise and Miles Teller onto my podcast. I was like, let's do it. Now I'm motivated. Let's do it. So
I love that.
Yeah. I was like, I interviewed you, but it was like fun as well. Like, I think it was more fun than I would have interviewed Tom Cruise or so. Anyway, they will laugh so hard if like our bonus episode is coming out and they're like, oh, that's what she meant.
Surprise!
It's
me.
We just compare Top Gun 1, Top Gun 2.
Oh, yes.
Okay. Okay, I've got a question. I've got two questions, actually.
I have two answers.
Yeah, you can split them up if you want or not. But basically, it's like, what is your favorite Disney movie? And you can split it up if you want the live action and animated, or, just go for it and choose.
Well, that would be the only way that I could. That would be the only way that I could. Because I've never, like, the people that can do, like, here are my top 5.
Yeah.
Or here's my number 1. I don't know those people. No, I'm kidding. But I don't, like, I'm just, like, I don't know how you do that. And I remember, I feel like I remember seeing like some celebrity who just said like, here's the four that like, here's like some that I enjoy right now. So it wasn't cementing like, these are my favorite, but more, here are like these recent ones that I do enjoy. And I love that. Let's see. One that I haven't, I've watched it through, I have watched it for the blog side of my project, but I haven't, it is one still to upcut, like it's still upcoming for the video portions. But it's called Follow Me Boys. It was really, it's live action. It was actually Kurt Russell's first Disney movie. So it was his Disney film debut, and it was great. He was like this 11, 12-year-old kid. He was adorable. I was just like, oh my gosh, to see you as your young self, to know like, to see it, and then to know like what is still to come. It was great. And it has Fred McMurray, who is great. He was definitely like a staple in the 50s, like in the 50s and 60s for Disney.
In
And
my letterbox.
Nice. He actually, and Fred McMurray was actually I believe he was the first Disney legend named in when they did that. And then it also has Vera Miles from Psycho.
Oh,
which I mean, this was not her first, like this wasn't her first Disney film, because she had done several in like I think like the 50s and early 60s, maybe just like the early 60s. But yeah, it's so, what I had never heard of it prior to doing this project, though I do remember when I first was learning about it, that it was, I feel like it was the last live action. I think it was the last live action that Walt Disney like was involved with, because he passed away shortly before or like around the time of its release.
Okay.
And the first time that I watched it, I was just like, I love this. I had rented it, and then I bought it on Vudu, so that I could have a streaming copy. And then I also bought the DVD, because I was like, I need to make sure that I can ensure that I will have access to this.
Yeah.
Because I love it so much.
Nice.
And it was one of those that really was just like this is why I do the project. Like the real reason, like discovering for myself the movies that I'm just like, yes, I love this. Nice. And then there are other movies where I'm just like, that's also why I do the project, to see what else is not quite as good. No, so Follow Me Boys is definitely one that is that has become one of my top favorites. Let's see. There was this one, The Littlest Outlaw. It was in the 50s, I would say like early to mid 50s, about this cute little kid. I think it's set in Mexico, and he and his stepfather work for a general who trains horses for show events. And I think the horse's name is Conquistador. And it's just like this cute, like he's trying, the horse gets into an accident, and the kid is trying to save, he runs away with the horse to keep him from being put down, because he's no longer fit, but he's fine. He's fine. It's great. And it was such a cute movie, and you're just like watching, and you're just like, yes, like I want the kid to be, like I want them to be safe. And it was great. So that was a good one. Who Framed Roger Rabbit? That, I mean, I haven't gotten to that in the project, but that is one that I have been a fan of for years.
Yeah.
Because it's just it was such a masterful way of combining live action and animation. And then also, I believe it is still the only time where Warner Brothers cartoons and Disney cartoon characters are in the screen, like are sharing the screen together.
Oh, wow. Okay. I didn't know that.
And it was so great. And then
it sounds legendary.
You have to watch it, because it's just fun, and it has one of my favorite villains.
Okay. How's it
ever.
called again? Sorry.
Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
All right. Yeah.
It's great. And then of course there's the cloud, like they're like the animated films of the Renaissance era, the 90s era. Um Little Mermaid is like included in the Renaissance era. So like Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, Lion King, Aladdin, Mulan, Tarzan, all great things. Hercules, Hunchback has one of the best scores that Disney has ever released
Okay.
by far.
Okay.
Oh, good stuff. Good stuff. So many movies. So many things.
So many. Yeah. When he said Lion King, that just reminded me that I never watched it.
Oh, you've
I
never
never
watched Lion
watched
King?
it. No.
That also has one of the that also has a phenomenal soundtrack,
Okay.
and it really does have one of the best villain songs
Okay, cool.
of all time.
Okay. Maybe I'll
Be
watch
prepared.
this
You should.
tonight. I know my brother was obsessed with it. Like he had a Lion King like carpet and stuff in his bedroom. And obviously in Germany, right? I think
Mhm.
it's said that we have the best performance in Hamburg of the Lion King something. Yeah.
Nice.
We have like one don't we wait, let me
The stage production.
yeah, I think we have
Oh,
it's just in
nice.
Hamburg and they just played all year long.
That's so cool.
And so I think like I knew it was big, but maybe I wanted to just watch it there for the first time. I don't know. Yeah. Yeah, it is a musical and this is just the only play like they just play all year long the Lion King, but like people
Nice.
travel to Hamburg for that.
Oh, that's so cool. I
Yeah.
love that.
So if you ever come to Hamburg,
That's one I do still want. Like I do still want to see the Lion King stage production
yeah.
because it's so cool. I actually have a picture from I'm pretty sure we went to like JCPenney's or something, and they had like a little Mufasa plush and a little
Mhm.
Simba plush. And so there's a picture of me with holding both of them net like on either side of me.
That is cute.
And I'm just like this cute, and I think I had like I don't know, maybe it was like a kind of like a jungle like background. I don't know.
Yeah.
But that's still one of my favorite pictures. Oh,
Nice.
great. Did you ever play they released an animated storybook CD game
Ooh,
in
really?
like the 90s. Yes. You can find a like a full playthrough on YouTube,
Ooh.
which is I want them to like I don't know if like it's probably cuz like the company, whatever company that that they license the games to no longer exists, but I want those games back in my life.
Yeah.
And the 101 Dalmatians one is one of my favorites. It has like these like really funny like songs throughout where I still like there's because at one point you're in like in the movie you're inside of Hell Hall, like Cruella's home.
Yeah.
And there's like this song that you can turn off and like you can turn on, and it does like this whole little um like these big spots appear on the screen, and like different images, and like the words are like like showing at the bottom, and that song the is one of like I still like will sing it because it's like up the stairs, look out, beware, there's danger lurking everywhere, this house is very like dark and scary, creepy and erratic from the basement. Like I have that thing memorized, and it is one of my go-to just like when I'm like creeping through a dark house
Yeah.
at night trying to get something or trying to do something, like that's what I will
Yeah.
sing, and it's great. Like the game itself is so fun.
Okay. I need to watch it on YouTube.
You
I
do.
think I would have fun watching that.
It's fun.
I would have fun playing that too, probably.
Right. I want them because I know they have started putting some games on Steam, and I'm just like, I just want to know, like, I just need to find out, like, who do I need to talk to like revive these and put them on Steam, because I will pay hard earned money to play them.
Yeah. Nice.
Oh,
Okay.
they're great. They're so much fun.
Is that a good position to wrap up? Yeah. I think
Probably.
yeah. Let's bring back those games and then we talk again.
Yes, let's do that.